Okay, folks, welcome to Market Wrap for the 15th. All right, so I'm going to be hitting the road shortly and spending a heck of a lot of time doing a drive through down to Charleston first. And I'm going to try to make it down to Jekyll Island. I've never been there before. For those not familiar, Jekyll Island is where the Federal Reserve was thought up. That's where J.P. Morgan had a mansion, and all the big bankers from Wall Street met down there and came up with the Federal Reserve. So I'm going to head down there, scout it out, and maybe do a recording from there. So a little bit of an adventure, but I will be working, I will be watching, as always, and let's talk about the PayPal trade. So today we closed out the put side contracts. So this is now a profitable trade, but we remain long of the common stock. I'll go over that chart in a moment. Had a very good day today. We may get some backfilling, but overall it still looks good. First, let's talk about bond yields. Folks, again, another rip up higher on the 10-year Treasury bond. A yield, I should say, not the bond. And it looks like it wants to keep on going. This is a big, big move. And this is the week the Treasury is scheduled to scale back their bond purchases. So you saw a little bit of wobbliness today in the markets. Net, they closed down on the day. So watch out for the high beta names. Bonds, the 20-year Treasury bond just got crushed today. Down over 1.25%. We have further to go here at the 144.75 mark. Volume rose, but we're still below average. Stokes weak and getting weaker. Tips closed up on the session but faded. So I'm not going to be the least bit surprised to see a pullback here on the tips. The only caveat to that is that we're seeing RSI flatline. Maybe it'll hook back up. Our stochastics flatline. Maybe they'll hook back up. So the jury's out, but what matters most is price action, then volume. Volume was good. Price was not so good, given the topping action at the 130.50 mark. MACD histogram losing momentum. So when I look at this chart and I see the weakness here, and I see the strength on bond yields and the strength today on the US dollar, which just ripped. Initially, it opened down, only to reverse, and yet the gold stocks did very, very well. Gold did very, very well. Yeah, GDXJ closed down slightly. NUGT closed up slightly. Gold, I believe, closed up. That may change by the close, but I'll go over that in a moment. The VIX, an update today, an inside day, no continuation move lower, day over day, week over week. So are we putting in a higher low here on the VIX? And I spoke about last night on Sunday Night Futures Live that I was worried about the rising yields and the impact that it would have on the market. And none other than the Federal Reserve came out today saying, hey, these market valuations are a bit nutty. And if this economy rolls over, we're worried about small businesses not being able to bail themselves out. Oh, gee whiz, really? Really? Thanks. Welcome to the party you helped create. So I'm going to be very reluctant right now to go adding to longs on equities. And in fact, we took off that PayPal put. I could have let that expire on Friday, but I didn't want to have that risk on. I'm long of the common stock. So how much exposure do I want to have to PayPal right now when yields are pressing up higher and equities are very overvalued? We want to keep an eye on our risk exposure. Taking a look at the transports, this to me is very much like topping action. It's a setup for a lower high. When will I be wrong? When we break out, as always, the test is always at the top. Right? Do we break out or do we break down? One of the two is going to happen. If we roll over, this would be the second lower high. Taking a look at the S&P 500, it eked out a gain, closing off the highs of the session. I could have sworn we closed down. I guess these updated, but we did manage to close up. And again, do we break out to new higher highs? The test is always at the top. The Dow Jones did close down. Stokes barely holding on to the 50 mark. RSI still okay. A bearish reversal day. Volume light. Lower highs, ultimate oscillator. MACD's already gone negative. Trip Qs, a down day. Stokes are attempting to hook back up, as is RSI. Again, we're going to take our crayon out. We're not going to try to divine what's going to happen here. All we're going to do is lay out an if this, then that scenario. If we break support, we lighten up even more on longs. If we break out, well, it's a risk-on environment, especially if we break out to new higher highs. Small caps. Took it on the chin today, broke daily support. They held the 237.50 mark. Volume rose. So perhaps we're in a consolidation range. Perhaps it's more. In the coming days, we'll know a lot more as the Fed numbers are released on Thursday in particular. Let's take a look at what that balance sheet looks like. The banks. The banks are very close to a breakout. They tried to do it. They couldn't follow through. RSI has a breakout. Stokes are hooking up. I still stand by what I think is going to happen here is that we're going to see sector rotation into the industrials, into the banks, and not so much price action in tech land. In fact, here's technology. It closed down the session. Lower high potential on RSI, Stokes hooking up. Consumer discretionaries, daily chart, a down day. We held support, volume slightly below average. Stokes are going to open up down below the 50 mark tomorrow. So any rally should be viewed with suspicion and worry about a fade. Now, energy today, a very good day. And perhaps this is the beginning of the rotation. We saw a bullish reversal day. They tried to take it down, but they reversed it and broke it out. Volume was light. Emerging markets took it on the chin. With yields in the dollar rallying, you can't expect much out of emerging markets. Gold. It ultimately pulled back on the day and closed negative. Volume rose. MACD histogram losing momentum. As long as this trajectory on bond yields and to a greater extent the dollar continues, I'm worried about gold and the gold stocks until the dollar rally peters out. You can go back in history. You can take a look at the chart of the 10-year yield and gold back in the 1970s. They traded in lockstep. Yields rose, gold rose, but the dollar did not. The dollar declined. So watch the dollar. The dollar's got a break. The GDXJ held a breakout point, rallied off the lows of the day, but still closed down on light volume. Nugget closed up over a half percentage point, rallied up and into resistance. Volume was very light to the upside. Not much happening there today. So what I keep looking at with bated breath is a filling of the gap here at the 54.21 mark. Silver, daily chart. It closed down on the session, nearly 1 3/4%. Volume was light. So you're beginning to see, unlike last week, you're beginning to see the metals start to, give up a little bit of ground here with the rise of the dollar and the rise in yields. The silver miners down about 1/3 of a percentage point. Gold money, reversal bar on the day. Gave up the $2 mark. Cal-Maine Foods, really nice move here. Very, very nice. Right at the 200-day moving average, it was stopped. Volume a bit light. DWAC, Doji Star Formation, dancing right on top of that 20-period moving average. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. Really nice consolidation here. Again, sitting right on top of that 20-period moving average. They may take this up. Bollingers are getting really nice and tight. RSI, like a coiled spring. They may rip this. ETRN, daily chart. Continuation move higher out of last week's breakout. Volume, though, dropped off. So a little bit of a warning flag on the track. Stokes look good. Ocean Power Technologies. A down session, struggling here. More consolidation, not much to talk about. All right, PayPal. The game plan here is to fill the gap, which opened up here on earnings at around 225. The price action today implies that we may get a backing and filling here, but that's okay. Volume is good today. MACD like a coiled spring. So PayPal looking very good. We're going to remain long here. And with that, folks, I am hitting the road. Everybody have a great night, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Be well.